Australia has long been seen as a land of opportunity. Stunning beaches, world-class cities, and a lifestyle that attracts millions of visitors every year have made it one of the most desirable places to live. However, beneath this seemingly idyllic image, there are economic challenges that are pushing many to reconsider life down under. Why is it that so many people are choosing to leave or deciding against moving to Australia in the first place? Let's dive into the economic factors driving this trend. One of the biggest challenges facing residents in Australia is the high cost of living. From housing to groceries, nearly everything comes with a hefty price tag. In cities like Sydney and Melbourne, housing affordability has reached a crisis point. The median house price in Sydney hovers around $1.3 million, putting homeownership out of reach for many. Even renting isn't a feasible option for some, with rental prices soaring due to increased demand and limited supply. For young families and professionals, this creates a significant barrier to building a stable and comfortable life. Adding to this burden is the cost of everyday essentials. Groceries, transportation, and utilities in Australia are among the most expensive in the world. A visit to the supermarket can leave residents questioning how far their salaries can stretch, especially when wages haven't kept pace with inflation. Electricity prices are another sore point, with households paying some of the highest rates globally. While renewable energy adoption has grown, and with it hopes for lower costs, the transition has yet to deliver significant financial relief for many Australians. The job market also presents challenges. While Australia boasts a relatively low unemployment rate, the reality for many is underemployment, working fewer hours than desired, or being stuck in insecure jobs. Casual and contract work are prevalent, leaving workers without the stability of guaranteed hours or long-term benefits. This precarious employment landscape makes financial planning difficult, particularly when combined with the country's high living costs. Another factor driving discontent is Australia's tax system. With one of the highest personal income tax rates in the world, many residents feel the financial strain. The top marginal tax rate of 45% applies to income over $180,000, but even middle-income earners face significant tax burdens when compared to other developed nations. While these taxes fund crucial services like healthcare and education, some argue that the returns don't justify the high costs. Public transport, for instance, remains expensive and, in many cases, inefficient compared to global standards. Education costs, while subsidized to some extent, still place a heavy burden on families. University fees can run into tens of thousands of dollars, and parents often struggle to cover the costs of private schooling, which is seen as essential by many due to perceived inadequacies in the public education system. For international students, who make up a significant portion of Australia's university population, tuition fees are even steeper, by adding to the financial pressures of living in the country. Healthcare, often touted as a strength of Australia's system, isn't without its flaws. While Medicare provides basic coverage for citizens and permanent residents, long wait times for non-urgent treatments in public hospitals can push people toward costly private health insurance. This adds another layer of financial stress, especially for families and older individuals. Climate change is another significant factor influencing the decision to live in Australia. The country's susceptibility to extreme weather events, from bushfires to floods, has become a growing concern. These disasters not only disrupt lives, but also have substantial economic impacts, including increased insurance premiums and the loss of property and livelihoods. In recent years, catastrophic events have highlighted the risks of living in certain regions, prompting some to relocate or reconsider moving to Australia altogether. Immigration policies have also become a sticking point. While Australia has historically relied on immigration to fuel its economic growth, recent policy changes have made it harder for skilled workers to obtain permanent residency. Visa processing delays, stricter requirements, and high application costs have created barriers for those hoping to build a future in the country. For those who do manage to secure a visa, the path to permanent residency and citizenship can be long and uncertain, leaving many in a state of limbo. Australia's reliance on a few key industries also raises concerns about economic resilience. The country's economy is heavily dependent on mining and resource exports, particularly to China. While this has brought prosperity during boom periods, it also makes Australia vulnerable to global market fluctuations and geopolitical tensions. Diversifying the economy remains a challenge, and the lack of focus on emerging sectors like technology and innovation has left some questioning the country's long-term economic prospects. Income inequality further complicates the picture. While Australia is often celebrated for its high standard of living, the gap between the wealthy and the rest of the population has been growing. Rising property prices have disproportionately benefited those who already own assets, leaving renters and first-time buyers at a disadvantage. Meanwhile, regional disparities mean that rural and remote areas often lack the opportunities and services available in major cities, exacerbating social and economic divides. For young Australians, the dream of owning a home or achieving financial independence feels increasingly out of reach. Stagnant wage growth, combined with soaring living costs, has created a generation that feels financially squeezed. Many young people are choosing to move overseas in search of better opportunities, contributing to a brain drain that could have long-term consequences for Australia's economy. The COVID-19 pandemic also exposed vulnerabilities in Australia's economy and social systems. Border closures and lockdowns hit the tourism and hospitality industries particularly hard, leading to job losses and business closures. While the economy has shown signs of recovery, the long-term impacts of these disruptions are still being felt, particularly by small businesses and casual workers. Housing affordability remains one of the most pressing issues. Government initiatives aimed at addressing the housing crisis, such as first home buyer grants, have often had unintended consequences, driving up prices rather than making housing more accessible. Meanwhile, investors continue to dominate the property market, pushing up prices and reducing the availability of affordable homes for ordinary Australians. Australia's aging population adds another layer of complexity. As the proportion of retirees grows, the pressure on public services like healthcare and pensions will only increase. Without significant policy changes, the economic burden on younger generations is likely to rise, creating further dissatisfaction. Despite these challenges, Australia remains an attractive destination for many, thanks to its natural beauty, strong institutions, and multicultural society. However, the economic realities facing residents are prompting difficult questions about whether the lifestyle it offers is worth the financial trade-offs. Addressing these issues will require bold policy decisions and a commitment to building a more inclusive and resilient economy. Australia's future depends on its ability to adapt to changing global and domestic conditions. By tackling housing affordability, reforming the tax and education systems, and investing in emerging industries, the country can create opportunities for all its residents. At the same time, addressing climate change and improving immigration policies will be crucial for maintaining Australia's appeal as a place to live and work. The question remains, will Australia rise to the challenge, or will these economic pressures continue to drive people away? Only time will tell, but the choices made today will shape the Australia of tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Australia's economic challenges. If you found this analysis insightful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective on what can be done to ensure a brighter economic future for Australia.